Elephants in the room.
Okay, so did you hear like the tapping?
Yeah,
The
it's when
beating?
my voice was getting too high.
Well, no, when it gets to the end, then you start. So like when
Oh,
you
so I start
started, it
now.
was yeah. So when you started, it wasn't even
Oh,
it
okay,
hadn't
okay,
gone
okay,
into it
gotcha.
yet.
Hi guys, welcome back to Elephants in the Room. Thank you so much for being here, guys. This has been a really special week. The amount of love and support I've received on the last 2 episodes have been unreal. I'm very thankful. It's like a dream come true. I wanted to do this forever, but to like actually do it and to also have it help people and like impact people is crazy. Like the amount of supportive messages and comments I've received just in the ratings, like you guys have surpassed my expectations and I'm just so grateful for you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of Elephants in the Room. Elephants in the Room loves you. I love you guys. Anyways, I hope you guys had a really good week. I hope that you had a good holiday season, I guess. I guess the holidays aren't over until New Year's, but yeah, I hope that it was good. And yeah, I love you guys. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Anyways, we're going to just jump right in. This week, we are talking about embarrassment. Oh, goodness. Is there a time in your guys' lives when you've been embarrassed? Because I know there have been many times in my life where I have felt embarrassed before. So I wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's an elephant in the room, like that no one talks about because we don't want to talk about the things that are embarrassing to us because we're embarrassed by them. So we're just going to talk about it today. I'm going to start by telling you guys a really funny story of a time when I did something really embarrassing when I was a kid. So growing up, my best friend, her older sister was my older sister's best friend as well. So we would always hang out kind of together. They were a couple years older than us. So they would always like just pull pranks on us and like make us do really stupid stuff. Like they were crazy. They literally would tell us the craziest things. And we were really young. So like we would believe it. So here's a really funny story for you guys. So when I was young, my sister and her friend, her name is Ashley, and my best friend is named Tori, and my sister's name is Mary. So those are the names. Anyways, so they convinced us, guys. They literally convinced us that tampons were gun cleaners. They were like, these are gun cleaners, so you can sell them. Like, go sell them and you guys can make money. And at the time, we were like 7 years old, 8 years old. We're like, we didn't know what tampons were. So we were like, okay. Because we always used to like do lemonade stands and stuff to make money. So moral of the story is we literally went to through my cul-de-sac selling tampons to people, trying to sell tampons to people, telling them that they were gun cleaners, old tampons. So yeah, there's a funny, embarrassing story for you guys, but we all have things that we've done that, you know, we're embarrassed of, or things about us that we're embarrassed of. And so I kind of just want to dive into embarrassment. So the definition of embarrassment is causing a feeling of self-conscious confusion and distress, and it causes embarrassment. So there's a couple different types of embarrassment. So I kind of want to dive into those really fast. Okay, so let's talk about the different types of embarrassment, or at least in my eyes, the different types of embarrassment. There's the things that we're embarrassed of that are out of our control. There are things that we're embarrassed of that is something we can't change. And then there is things that we are embarrassed of that is a result of our actions. So there's a lot of different things to be embarrassed about in life, but I feel like we've all gone through a time in our lives when we were embarrassed of something. So I want to start by just telling you guys a couple times that I've been embarrassed in my life and some of the repercussions of that. I think I've told this story before, but growing up, I was very poor and I was extremely embarrassed of that. I was so embarrassed that I didn't have like the cookie cutter normal family home life. Like I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be a normal kid. And I wasn't. My situation was far from that. And so when I was a little girl, I used to make my mom drop me off like 3 blocks away from my school so no one would see what kind of car I was driving. I literally would put on a hoodie, guys, kid you not, and I would duck my head back in my car as we were driving because I did not want to be seen in my car because it was like $1,000 car. Like my mom had a new car like almost every month and they were really, really crappy, I guess you could say. Now, obviously looking back, I'm grateful that I even had a car and I shouldn't have cared about being poor. But at the time, it really mattered to me. And at the time, I was really embarrassed of it. Like, I just wanted to be like normal kids. And it was so embarrassing for me. Like, I was so crippled with embarrassment when anyone found out where I lived or saw my car, just anything. Like, I was so embarrassed as a kid. Like, I just wanted to be normal. When people found out that my parents were divorced, like, it just like ate me alive as a child. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a very anxious girl. I struggle a lot with anxiety. And I feel like as I get older, my anxiety gets worse. Like I feel like when I was a kid, I had anxiety, but I didn't understand that it was anxiety. So it didn't affect me as much because I wasn't like aware. And now that I'm aware, it's like, I have really bad anxiety. Let's just say that. So something that's really, 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 really hard for me and something that's always been hard for me as an adult, because like as a kid, obviously, like we want to fit in, you know, we want to be normal, quote unquote. But, this is kind of more as an adult. So my first serious relationship, my ex-husband, when I met him, I was so scared to tell him that I didn't have a normal family, quote unquote. Like, I'm telling you guys, like I was crippled with fear. Like, okay, so we had started talking, we had started dating, and he didn't know that I lived with my sister and brother-in-law at the time. At the time, I was a junior in high school. Or sorry, correction, I was a senior in high school. And so he didn't know that. And I hid that from him for the first, I don't know, couple weeks or month or two that we had started talking, because I was so embarrassed of it. He had a very quote unquote normal family, like, and his dad and mom were married and his dad and mom were active in the church and he had all these siblings and they all look like one big happy family. And I come from this very broken home with 2 drug addict parents, a half sister, a half brother. I've lived with extended family and my parents really aren't even in my life. And I was so scared to tell him because I thought it was a reflection of me. And I thought that it made me broken. And I thought that I just thought that it meant that there was something wrong with me. And so the story of actually how he first found out was that I went to go and visit him when we were first dating. And his mom kept being like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so thankful that your mom, you know, trusts us to let you come out here. Like, you're safe with us. Like, your mom must be so great. Like, I'm so grateful that she, you know, let you come and we want her to feel comfortable. Like, can I talk to your mom? Like, and so his mom was asking for like my mom's phone number to like talk to her and like tell her thank you for letting me come out and that like they were going to keep me safe and yada, yada, yada. And I just kept like trying to put it off and trying to just be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, my mom's great. Like, you know, cause at the time, like I was so embarrassed. Obviously now looking back, like I shouldn't have been embarrassed about that. That wasn't something to be embarrassed about. It wasn't my fault. But at the time, like it was, I was so freaking embarrassed. And so finally it got to the point where like, he was like, Nicole, can I have your mom's number? Like my mom just really wants to talk to her and just, you know, send her a message or anything. And so I gave him my sister's phone number, who I was living with at the time and who had custody of me. And his mom texted my sister, and then my sister reached out to me and she's like, Nicole, do you want me to play along with this and like tell his mom that I'm your mom? And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I remember me and him were driving. I remember like my whole body was like flooded with anxiety. Like I was so nervous, but I was like, I have to say something. I have to tell him, like, I have to be honest. And then I remember I just looked at him and I was like, hey, like, can I tell you something, and I opened up and I said, my parents really aren't in my life. My sister has custody of me. I live with her and her husband, my brother-in-law. And, I don't really like have a mom, I guess, like I do, but yeah. Oh, and was that scary? Holy cannolis. And then after that, it was like, it's awkward. It's embarrassing. Like, I don't want to go over to my new boyfriend's house and meet his parents and have his parents be like, oh, so like, are you okay? Like, your parents are like not in your life. You like have this weird life. Like, and obviously no one is like trying to judge me, but like, I felt very embarrassed by it. There's a lot of things that we can be embarrassed about. Like I said, like there's all those different types of embarrassment, but we also all have insecurities. And so sometimes we're embarrassed about our insecurities. Like for me, some of my insecurities are, I'm flat chested. Like I've always been flat chested and I literally got bullied for it growing up. And it's still an insecurity of mine. I've definitely like come to a lot of peace with it. And like, I see myself in a better way because I see myself through the lens of Jesus Christ. And I know that my identity is placed in him. And I know that he made me beautiful just the way that I am. And I also know that society's standards of beauty are very toxic and terrible for us. And that we don't have to have all these things that are commercialized to be beautiful. But that is something that I'm insecure about. And that is something that I was embarrassed about as a kid. I used to stuff my bra. Like I used to stuff my bra as like a 12-year-old child because I was embarrassed that I was flat chested. The things we do when we're embarrassed, the things we do, so it can be an insecurity of yours, or maybe like we get embarrassed about our circumstances. Like when I was going through my divorce, I was so embarrassed of that because it felt like a failure. So there's just a lot of things that we can be embarrassed about. Like I said, it can be our insecurities. It can be our circumstances. It can be a mistake that we made. It can be, little quirks about us that are interesting. Like there's just a lot of things that we tend to be embarrassed about. And I just think that we should break the stigma on like embarrassment. So I want to talk about ways that we can fight off embarrassment. Okay. Number 1, be present. I promise you guys, anything that I've ever been embarrassed of, in the moment, I was really embarrassed of said thing. But when I really look back, I'm like, that wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. Like I really did not need to be embarrassed about that. But I think in the heat of the moment, when we're in the thick of a situation or when we're in the thick of like an insecurity, it's really easy to be embarrassed. But like be present in the sense that whatever you're embarrassed about, whether it's your current situation or something that happened in your past, all you have is right now. And having your mind or anything be in a different place isn't good. Like be present where you are. The next thing is to realize that you are way more aware than others. I promise you guys, the things that you are embarrassed of, the things that you're hyper conscious of yourself, people do not even realize. And let me tell you why. People are concerned about themselves. I promise you, if you walk into a room with people and you have something you're embarrassed of or insecure about, those people around you as well have those things, and they're worried about you noticing those things, and you're worried about them noticing those things. And neither of you are noticing the other person's things, if that makes any sense. Not to mention, we are also so hard on ourselves. Like we are all our own worst critics. Like we beat ourselves up so much. And I feel that people typically see us in a better light than we see ourselves. Like people can see us with a lot more love and grace and beauty than we can see in ourselves because we're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on the way that we look. We're so hard on ourselves for the things that we do. We're our own worst enemy most of the time. And the next thing you can do is Accept embarrassment stems from a place of perfectionism. Oh, this is such a good point I want to talk about, guys. Guys, when you really think about the core of why we get embarrassed about something, it stems from the fact that you want to be perfect, right? The things that we're embarrassed about are typically things that are out of the norm, quote unquote. So if we don't fit into society standards of a family, if we don't fit into society standards of beauty, of society standards of success, whatever it is, if we don't fit into those things, we tend to be embarrassed because we crave this perfectionism. And when you start to realize that, you're like, that's kind of backwards. It's kind of backwards that like, I expect myself to be perfect. We are all so unique and we all have such unique circumstances, dreams, goals, desires, insecurities, personalities. Like we're all so different. Yet we all just want to be this one way. We want to be perfect. And when we're not perfect, we're embarrassed. But it's like, we shouldn't be embarrassed of that. Like there's literally nothing wrong with being different. We're supposed to be different. Like that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's interesting. And when you can see that your sense of embarrassment usually stems from you wanting to be perfect, you can kind of start to see how that's a little bit of like a prideful thing. Like when you really put your pride aside and you like practice some humility, you can be like, okay, like I don't need to be perfect and I don't need to be obsessed with this reality of being perfect or doing all the perfect things. Like I am who I am and I'm enough as I am. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you can start to accept that, that's really powerful. The next thing is to be you. Guys, I spent too much of my life trying to be someone that I wasn't. I spent too many years trying to be perfect and trying to be what everyone wanted me to be so they would love me, so I would be accepted. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You can do everything right in this world. You can love people right. You can do things right. You can have all the achievements. You can look a certain way. You can be the ideal standard of everything. And it's not going to fulfill you. And the people that you attract when you are only trying to do everything right and only trying to be someone that you're not aren't the people that you want to be surrounded by. They are not the people that you want in your life. You want people that love you for you, not for who you're trying to be. You want people who love you for who you are right now, today, flaws and all, mistakes and all, insecurities and all. You want someone who looks at you and says, I love you right now for who you are. And not anything could change that. You want someone that loves your soul, that loves your spirit. You don't want someone that loves you because you do everything right. Guys, I am telling you, I was that person. And it only left me constantly being hurt. And it only left me constantly being frustrated. Because when I did everything quote unquote right in all my relationships and I still got abandoned, man, that was a blow to my ego and it was a blow to my self-esteem. It really made me hate myself. Because I was like, if I can do everything right and give everything to this person or to these people and they still don't love me, there's something wrong with me. I'm not enough. And now I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who loves me for me. I don't have to try to be someone with him. I don't have to do everything right for him to love me. He just loves me because he loves me for me. No ulterior motives. That's another thing about trying to do everything right and being obsessed with this idea of perfectionism is that you attract the people who love you for the wrong reasons. They love you for the value that you add to their life. And I'm sorry, but that's not real love. Now, again, do I think that a healthy partner should add value to your life, or a healthy friend or a healthy family member? Absolutely. But if that's the reason that they love you, no. That's a selfish reason to love someone just because you gain something from it. Someone should love you for your soul, for your spirit, for your personality, for exactly who you are, flaws and all. And if they love you for who you are, then they get the value that you add to their life. Then they get to enjoy the perks of having someone give and love them. But if they don't love you at the core of who you are first, it's not real love, guys. I'm sorry to break it to you. And trust me, been there, done that. And man, did it drain my cup. Man, did it make me hate myself. I lost myself in trying to love others that didn't truly love me. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But when I finally did, it opened up room for the people who do truly love me for me, flaws and all, insecurities and all, baggage and all. People who love my soul, my spirit, not the person that they want me to be, and not the perfect version of what I believe they want me to be. I'm going to tell you something that you probably don't want to hear. Someone can't love you if they don't love themselves. They will not know how to love you. Now, here's the hard part. That statement also goes back on you. If you do not love yourself, you are not going to be able to love someone else. So if you surround yourself by people who don't love themselves and who only want to gain from your kindness or from your efforts and take, you're going to end up in a bad place. You're going to end up hurt. And I don't want that for you guys. So please, guys, be you. Be who you are. You are special. You are unique. You are one of a kind. You are literally, there's only one of you. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? There's just one of you. There's just one of you on this earth. And I believe that you are uniquely and wonderfully made by the creator of the universe who loves you. So you must be pretty dang special. You must have something special. Your heart, your soul, your spirit. There's something special in you, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your flaws. You are special. There is something that you offer that no one can offer. And I promise you that the right person is going to see that, and they are going to value that, and they're going to cherish that. And no relationship is perfect, and no partner is perfect. But I promise you, when you find someone who truly loves you for you, it's life-changing. It's so freeing. It is so freeing being able to be yourself and not have to be someone else and receive pure love from someone. It's like the most amazing thing. And this can be in friendships. This can be in romantic relationships. This can be in any kind of relationship. No good relationship starts off of lies or off of like us trying to be someone that we're not. It just doesn't. So guys, I kind of went off the track there, but like, be you. Please be you. Stop apologizing for who you are, guys. Come on. Come on. don't apologize for who you are. You don't need to apologize to people for what makes you you. Like, do not do that. If you think you're weird, cool. It's better to be weird than to be like everyone else. And it's better to be weird than to be like this fake standard of perfection and normal. Like, be you and don't apologize for being you. Okay. And then the next thing I want to talk about with embarrassment is to learn from it and laugh about it. So whatever type of embarrassment you're going through, whether it's your circumstances are quote unquote not normal, and so you're embarrassed of that, learn from that. Learn that your circumstances don't define who you are. So there's no reason to be embarrassed. And also, like, when I say learn from it, like, for me, like, a lot of the things that I was embarrassed about growing up, like, I'm not embarrassed of anymore, but it took me time to process and to learn to, like, not be embarrassed of those things. And then laugh about it. Like, there are funny little things that we do, and we just can laugh about them. Laugh it off. Put your pride aside, be humble, and laugh about some of your mistakes. Like, here's a funny story. So I work in retail, so I talk to a lot of customers, and I always tell new people when I'm training them, I'm always like, guys, do not be embarrassed. Like, if you stumble upon your words or you say something weird, just like laugh it off. Like, I promise if you don't make it weird, they won't. So, occasionally we'll have a customer come in and one of us will like slip up and say something wrong. So for example, like, I had a customer come in one time, and when a customer comes in, we welcome them in, right? We're like, oh, welcome in. My name's Nicole, yada, yada. And then when they leave, we thank them for coming in. So we say, oh, thank you for coming in. This customer walked in and I literally go, oh, thanks for coming in. And they just like looked at me. I was like, oh, frick. And so then I'm just like, oh, ha, 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 sorry. Like, it's been a long day. And then, they laugh, I laugh. And it's all fun and jokes, right? Like, life's not that serious. Like, learn to just like laugh about it. Like, it seriously makes it so much easier when you can just like laugh it off, because, oh my gosh, it is just, yeah. And then the last thing I want to talk about is just keep moving forward. If you're embarrassed of something, just keep it moving. Learn from it, laugh from it, move on. It's all a part of your big and beautiful journey and story that makes you you. We're also imperfect. We all have so many little things that make us unique. We have mistakes, we have faults, we have failures, we have circumstances. We all have things. And again, I struggled for a long time in my life with being embarrassed. So it's not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up tomorrow and not be embarrassed, but just practice, acceptance and grace for yourself, and just remind yourself that you're not the only one who, is feeling embarrassed or struggles with addressing things or facing things or being known for things. Like, we all have fears and doubts, and we all have things that we're scared to admit and we're scared to talk about. But, our quirks and our little fun things about us make us unique. They make us special. They make us one of a kind. And there's only one you. There's only one you on this earth. So you are special. You are worthy. You are exactly who you are supposed to be. So just try to have some love for yourself this week. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you very, very much. I really hope you guys like this podcast, and I really hope it's helpful. Sometimes I really just feel like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just talking to you guys. But, I hope it does help, and I hope it makes you guys feel less alone. So yeah, if you would like to support me, you can rate this podcast. You can share it on social media. You can share it with your friends. You can follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok, Elephants in the Room, or my personal Instagram and my personal TikTok is nicole.donna. I'm super grateful for you guys. And I'll close this episode out by saying, what elephants are in your room? My name's Nicole, and I will talk to you guys next week.